Hello, family. It's popping. I'm going to get right into it. I was on a hike earlier, and I was really thinking about the last video. And today's video serves as a continuation, a clarification of last video. Because I understand that it could have went over some people's heads, and I'm not out here trying to confuse people. We're looking for clarity, not obscurity. We want to be clear. We want to be able to use our discriminative faculty in a way that we're able to discern essence from appearance, spirit from matter. Now, fundamentally speaking, there is no distinction. But navigating the world as we traverse reality, we want to be able to utilize our mind as a tool so that we can not get caught up and entangled in the world. The world's like a labyrinth, many different trapdoors and dead ends, and we want to see it clearly so that we don't get caught up and bound in the world. So today's video serves as a continuation of the last video. I'm providing you with practical perspectives because last video was kind of, like I said, may have went over some people's heads. So I know what I'm talking about, but I understand that, some people on here may not. So, like I said, I'm not out here trying to confuse people. Hence why I'm making today's video. So, I was doing some editing earlier. I actually finished up the editing in the book that I've been working on for a long time. Completely edited. Now I just got to format it and get it published. And I was reading it over earlier, and I was hiking, thinking about making this video, and I'm like, I'm gonna give an example of something that I read, and you can read it in the book too. I'll do a reading on here. I'll share it at some point when it's published and share that with you guys. So I was reading an example about an earthen doll, and if we think about it practically, we can easily and practically see that no matter how attractive the earthen doll or a mannequin is prepared to be, still nobody's attracted to it. Similarly, no matter how beautiful a person is, put them in a casket and nobody's going to be attracted to them. So we can practically see that nobody is actually attracted to a lump of flesh and blood, matter. What we're really attracted to is the spirit, the life force that animates the matter, within the matter. That life force that's intrinsic to everything, organic and inorganic, animate and inanimate. It's within everything. Obviously, there's different degrees of consciousness. The rock isn't as conscious as the human being. It still exists, but it doesn't know that it exists. It's not aware and conscious that I am. I exist. So that's why it's really good to take some time and, sit with yourself. Enter into that still space where there's no outside distractions. Like I said, we don't want to get caught up and entangled in the world. So practically, we can also see, we can ask ourselves, self-inquiry is huge. That's one of the gatekeepers to liberation, as I also wrote about in the book. 4 gatekeepers to liberation. I won't tell you the other 3. You can be surprised when you read, but first gatekeeper to liberation is self-inquiry. Now, if we sincerely ask ourselves, what is binding us to the material world, and we're honest with ourselves, self-honesty is key. No deception, no delusion, no mental games with ourselves. Like I said, we're looking for clarity. We got to be honest with ourselves and try to focus on that intuitive voice. That's a lot of leaders in the world not teaching people how to tune into God's voice And that's within everybody. We all have that intuitive inner voice. Behind the programming. Behind the addictive tendencies to what is binding us. So if we ask ourselves what is binding us, then we can work on that. And there's levels to it. So if we have various levels of compulsion, now being conscious is the opposite of being compulsive. Animals are compulsive. They're dictated by Mother Nature. They're automatically going on instinct, and they don't have to be conscious. Mother Nature takes care of them. Now nature takes care of us too, but we have the discriminative capability, and we have the ability to be conscious and aware. So that we're not bound by instinct. We're not bound by our animalistic tendencies. We can transcend them. What is the most valuable thing to a human being? The highest value. Freedom. That's just being free. You know what I'm saying? So we work on various levels of compulsion. We break one. Say maybe it's a coffee habit. Say you drink 3 cups a day. Make a firm decision. Stick to it. Say, I'm going to get it down to 2. And then after a week or 2, get it down to 1. And obviously, you got rid of 2 cups. Yeah, it'll be easy to get rid of the last one. So now you conquer that habit. What's the next thing you can work on? So various levels of compulsion. You break one. You break the next one. Break the next one. Break the next one. After a while, there's going to be no more to break. Then you'll be free. Because binding is not unlimited. It's not unlimited binding. Freedom is unlimited. There's no limit to freedom. So we want to work on various levels of compulsion so that we can become free. Then once we're free, we can consciously, if we choose to, and we want to, I certainly don't have to. We don't want to feel like we have to do stuff. I have to have my morning cup of coffee. See, that's not freedom. If we're choosing to and wanting to, that's a completely different story. So once we break these levels of compulsion, we can choose to reintroduce something. Now, from my personal experience, I used to smoke weed every day. And I've been sober for a long time. So if I chose to reintroduce it, I could. But it would be from a different place. I wouldn't feel like I have to, because I would feel like I'm in control. And I definitely wouldn't let it get to the point where I'm smoking every day like I was before. Felt like I couldn't even leave the house without smoking, and felt like I couldn't function effectively without it. We don't want to be bound like that. So, practically speaking, to get to that free space within ourselves, to be really in tune with that silence, where we can just sit and be still with ourselves without feeling like we have to get up and, eat or whatever we have to do. We can just sit down and be still, at ease, at peace, completely free within ourselves. No thoughts in the head. Because we're the observer, we're the witness. We're aware of the thoughts. A thought can't think itself, so we can practically see that we're not thoughts, because thoughts are ever changing. They're an endless reel of consciousness, and we're the witness. We're the observer and back of the thoughts. And when we identify ourselves as such, we can take control of our psychological process. Not from a forceful, I don't say control in a forceful manner. I'm forcing myself to do this. It's from a easy place. We don't have to work hard. nose to the grindstone, baby, you know what I mean? Like, we want our work to be joyful. Because if it's not, then it just another layer of compulsion. Another thing that's binding us. We want work to be liberating. We want it to bring us peace, freedom. We don't want to feel like we have to do it. No, I have to do this to survive, to get a paycheck, and that kind of thinking is, living in survival. And a lot of the world is, their actions are motivated by survival. They're thinking in terms of survival. And if we're living each day just thinking about how to perpetuate ourselves, and we're going to miss out on the joy of sharing with others. That's something I also talked about in the last video. Focus on yourself. So that you can get to that place within yourself where you realize that there is no separation. That self and other imply each other. So that naturally, by working on yourself, your personal evolution actually benefits everybody else. We're all in this together, you know what I'm saying? There's no independent identities. We're one big human family. And when you think like that, once you start working on those layers of compulsion and becoming free within yourself, you'll see that very clearly. You'll see that there's no separation. And you'll feel it too. You won't just intellectually understand it, but you'll experientially feel it. Like, you'll feel your connection to everything around you. And it's beautiful. That's really where meaning comes into play too. Because we're just out for ourselves. Just thinking about survival. Perpetuating our own existence as if we were a separate existence apart from everything else. And, life is devoid of meaning. And it's really in that deep sense of meaning where we find joy in our actions. I say our actions, but we're not the doer. There's that living force doing us. The body seems to flow effortlessly as it's going about doing its thing. I can sense myself getting off on a not so practical tangent now, so I'm going to cut it off here. Love you guys. Appreciate you staying till then. Catch you on the next one.